Hey TAC students, this is your teacher Roy with an introductory video for our class. That's Accounting 134, Individual Income Tax Preparation here at Kapilani Community College for Fall 2025. And what you're looking at is our welcome screen for Lamaku, our learning management system. And you would get here by typing in the address of your browser, lamaku.hawaii.edu, and you would log in and look for your classes. It possibly could be under this Fall 2025 tab. And once you see it, you probably want to pin it to this welcome screen so you don't have to search for it again. So let's get into our 134 Lamaku site. On this screen, you can see the main tools here, the main widgets. We'll eventually probably use this the most here to get to our Cengage. That's the publisher's See Now, Cengage Now, where we have our textbook and most of our assignments. But probably you want to also make sure you always look at this screen here. So let's get started into getting some links here, this link right here. And you can see again our course, Accounting 134. My name is Roy. Here's my email address. And this site is for two different sections of Accounting 134. One is strictly online, and another is called hybrid, where you do the same online work, but we also meet every Wednesday evening on the Kapilani Community College campus from 6 to 6:50. That's in the Kopiko building, downstairs in room 101A. And you would enter first through the Kopiko Learning Center. And off to the right side, there's a couple classrooms. 101A would be the furthest away versus 101B. Yeah, 101A is our classroom. And students on the online class are always welcome to attend too, just like the hybrid students. I don't take attendance. I consider the class meetings to be optional, but I think you get much more out of our class if you do come to the live meetings. Here you can see there's links for the course syllabus and semester schedule, YouTube lectures. Every chapter we have, you can download a PowerPoint file. We need to have you registered for Cengage to make sure it links to our Lamaku site. So anytime you want to do your Cengage work or read the textbook, you first would log into Lamaku, yeah, and then click on that previous screen Cengage See Now link. Links to tax forms. Eventually, we'll be using online software to prepare tax returns, and we'll get into that maybe in a few weeks from now. For every assigned chapter we have during the semester, I want you to follow the procedures listed down here. That's to read any announcements. Like you're probably watching this video now because I sent you an announcement called a class message, and I'll show you where it's going to be reposted. I'll also post up announcements that I don't email to you. Okay, so always log in and make sure you read those announcements. Again, I'll show you the list in a second. Then I want you to watch the chapter's YouTube videos, either linked here, or on our, also linked on the semester schedule. And then I want you to read the chapter, the assigned chapter. It's much easier first if you have some idea of what I'm talking about here in the video before you go through the details in the chapter. Okay, so watch the videos and then read the assigned chapter. And then before you do any assignments, I want you to read the instructions posted here in Lamaku for that assignment. And then you do the assignment. If you go straight into the assignment, you're skipping some hints, some help I'm giving you before you start. I always have students that email afterwards when they start the assignment. They don't know what to do. The reason why is because they didn't read the instructions here in Lamaku first. Okay, so always start off an assignment by reading the instructions in Lamaku. And again, I'll show you that in a minute. Okay, and then you work on the assignments. The assignments could either be at the Cengage CNOW site, and that's where most of them are, including quizzes, or it could be here in Lamaku. When it is in Lamaku, that means you probably are turning in some type of document, some type of computer file, a PDF file, like a tax return. Okay, and I'll show you where that is going to be located. Make sure you review the chapter resources folder. Right now, I don't have anything posted here, but when I do, it's going to be related to assignments possibly for that chapter. You can always email me questions. My email address is kamida@hawaii.edu. And I may post it up as an announcement to share it with other students, but I'll keep you anonymous. We end every chapter with a chapter quiz. So don't go in cold. Make sure you study the chapter before attempting it. Let's take a look at our semester schedule. I'll let you read the course syllabus on your own. You may want to download it and save it, But here's our semester schedule, and it's organized by chapter. So here for the first week starts from Monday and ends on a Sunday. We cover chapter 1. And same thing for the second and third week. We're still on chapter 1. At the end of every week, on every Sunday, there's going to be an assignment due. So if today was a Sunday, I know tonight I pretty much have to turn in something by before midnight. But before again, you start on any type of chapter assignment. Here again, I want you to watch the chapter videos, then read the chapter, okay? And then read announcements again. Then work on the assignment. So here, this August 31st Sunday, I want you to complete this homework A for chapter 1 in the CNOW site. Every assignment is worth 100 points to keep things simple. So the following week, there's a homework B for chapter 1 due on a Sunday. And then the third week, still on chapter 1, we have an assignment due here in Lamaku, filling in tax forms called PDF files. Also, that same date, you have a quiz. We end every chapter with a chapter quiz. We don't have any midterm exams. We don't have any final exams. But every chapter, you're assessed with a chapter quiz. So then we're on to the next chapter for the following week. Looks like we spend 4 weeks on chapter 2. Then we skip to chapter 4, then chapter 5, and end the semester a few weeks with chapter 7. Again, every single assignment is going to be worth 100 points. So you total up your points and you take a percentage, again, a standard curve, 100 to 90% would be an A, and so forth. Okay, so this is the schedule. And right now, I believe I have all the assignments open for you to get ahead of the schedule for chapter number 1. As the semester progresses, I'll get ahead and probably open up almost all the assignments in let's say by the end of September. And you can see we work through holidays, So if you have something planned on a weekend and you don't have time to finish it up on the weekend, get ahead of the schedule. Something always comes up. So try to get ahead. Okay, so that's the semester schedule linked over here. Let's go back to our opening page for our class here in Lamaku. I clicked on this link right here and it takes us back to the beginning. If you want to go back to the Lamaku welcome screen, that's this button over here, the UH seal. So I just came from this screen here. Off to the right side, you can see a listing of announcements. These ones called FYI are not emailed to you, but it's related to our class. Could be on taxes like these two are. Could be about education in general or business in general, careers, something related to our class, but I don't email it to you. What I do email to you and also repost it here are called class messages. Okay, so make sure you either read that email or read the class message that's posted here. And I'll email you a class message every week, every Saturday morning to remind you the very next day, Sunday, something is going to be due. Some homework, some quiz, some tax return. Okay, but get ahead of the schedule. So let's get into the Cengage site. So what you would do is click on this link over here. And the first time you do that, you got to register into a Cengage account and link it to our class. So I have some instructions, I believe, emailed to you. Or let's see, let me go back here. This registration instructions here for connecting our Lamaku site. I believe they call it bright space in the instructions. Yeah? And we're linking it to Cengage. But if you click on that link I just showed you, Cengage See Now, this one here, version 2, what you would see is something like this here. Okay, this is really an instructor screen, so I don't know exactly what you guys see, but you would see a tab for assignments, and you can see 3 assignments here already available for you to do. Remember, there was 4 already open, but the 4th one is only done in Lamaku, yeah, not here in See Now. Well, anytime you come to this site, this Cengage site, the See Now site, I want you to always open up the textbook under this Study Tools tab. I have a couple versions, but you probably only have one here. If you click on it, it should open up the textbook in a new tab like this. This is the table of contents for the whole textbook, and you can see all the links to the different chapters. So if I want to go to chapter 1, I can click on the link here. If it doesn't take you to this opening page with the chapter's objectives, you always can well, let me go into one of the next screens here, either using these links here or here the next page. And to go back to that opening page for the chapter, you can click on this button here. And again, jump to the specific topic in this chapter. Here at the very end is a link to the chapter's questions and problems, but it's a static description of the problems that we eventually will be doing in a different location here under Cengage for our assignments. If you want to go back to the table of contents for the whole textbook, you got to close out the page here. And I'm back here in the table of contents. So always open up your textbook in a separate tab before you do anything in our class. I'm back here at the beginning of the Cengage site. Let's go into an assignment. I'll demonstrate one for you. Remember, you've already read, watched the video for the chapter 1, already read chapter 1, and let me demonstrate to you as a student the first homework assignment. Every assignment, every homework assignment you do, you will have 3 attempts to submit the whole assignment. And right now it says I'm on the first of 3 attempts. That's not true for quizzes. Yeah, quizzes, you have only 1 submission attempt. And that's also not true for anything you submit in Lamaku, like a tax return. Yeah, I'll grade it only 1 time for you, versus they'll grade it here 3 times for you. So let me get into this assignment, chapter 1, homework A. And here you can see a listing of the contents of all the different questions. And right now I'm on multiple choice question number 1. So let me see if I can answer this. Ben is a single taxpayer. Single will learn is a filing status here in chapter 1. With no dependents, we'll learn what dependents are in chapter 1. And Ben is 32 years old. Age can make a difference when you do income taxes. So here's the question. What is the minimum amount of income that he must have to be required to file a tax return? So if he has less income than that minimum amount, he doesn't have to prepare and file a tax return. So let's see if I can find it here in my textbook. Again, here we're first looking at chapter 1. And the term we're learning about to answer this question is called who must file. And here we're given a table. Let me see if I can zoom in here. This is the general rule, not all the rules. Here's that filing status for Ben, single. He's under age 65, not 65 or older. So here is the maximum amount of income he can have before he has to file, 14,600. So let's see if that's one of the possible answers here. Here it is, yeah? But let me answer it wrong. I'll pick the wrong amount. But before you move on to the next question here with this button, or here the next button, let's check everything on this whole screen. Could be multiple blanks, multiple choices. Here I have only one here picked. But now here at the bottom, I can check this whole screen. In fact, I can do it 3 times. So let me check it. Check my work button. It's wrong with the red X. And it kind of gives you an explanation of why it's wrong over here in the blue box without telling you what the correct answer is. I already know what the correct answer is, yeah? Is that 14,600 maximum limit for single under age 65. So let me check my work. You can see I have 2 more times, yeah? Also notice here at the bottom, let's see if I can show you at the very bottom, it will keep track of your percentage for this homework assignment. And what you want to do is eventually build it up to 100%. And right now I got nothing so far, yeah? But let me submit or check my work, not submit, but check my work for just this one problem. And now you can see the green check mark. You can see, let's see, you can see this bubble here, the green check mark here. I've got credit for this one. I'm down really to 1, check my work, but it's for this problem I've completed. Let's move on to the next problem here, this next multiple choice problem. Let's see, Abed and Anahita are married filing joint. Married filing joint, again, we'll learn here in chapter 1, it's called a filing status. We'll learn about 5 different filing statuses. Abed is 64 and Ananita is 63. So again, under that age 65. They also care for Ananita's 83-year-old mother who can be claimed as a dependent. We'll learn about dependents also here in chapter 1. And the age of the dependent is not going to matter in the case of our taxpayers here filing his joint return. But I think we need to look at that same table. Remember, I have my book open already over here under this tab. But if you take a look at the top of the problem, as you work through a problem and want to open up the book exactly where, not maybe exactly, but generally where the answer can be found, you can click on the ebook and the specific objective listed down here, and it should open up another tab with the textbook at the page where you can possibly find the answer. But notice the page is kind of long, yeah? But you open up to the correct page, again, specifically to this book here, this table here. So let me zoom in for married filing joint. Let's see if I can collapse this menu here. Married filing joint. Both of our taxpayers are under 65. And here is the dollar amount maximum before they need to file a tax return. $29,200. $29,200. Now notice this is the second problem, and it reset to 3 check my works for this whole problem. Versus if I go back to this problem number 1, I think I just had left over 1 check my work. But let's go ahead and answer my number 2 problem and use up one of my check my work. So green check mark is what you're looking for, not red X's. And again, I don't need to use this 2 check my work anymore, yeah? But once you use up the 3 check my works, that's it for the submission of this whole homework problem. Each one of these problems have 3 check my works. Let me, again, you haven't submitted anything yet. Let me pick a longer problem way down here. These are worth probably more points. Oh, notice the accumulated percentage out of 100% I have down here. This is 2 multiple choice questions being answered correctly. Let's see. This last one here has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 10 different things you need to fill in. Here in this case, a drop-down box picking yes or no, yeah? Shall I answer this for you here? Dependence. Let's see if I can answer some of these here. In each of the following situations, determine whether the taxpayers have a dependent, and if so, the total amount of something called the child tax credit and other dependent credit that we'll learn about in detail here in chapter 1. Again, you cannot just go straight into the homework. Yeah, you gotta watch the videos, you gotta read the chapter, and then you're doing the homework assignment. So for A, Donna, a 20-year-old single taxpayer supports her mother who lives in her own home. That's the mother lives in her own home. Her mother has income of $1,350. We'll learn about the requirements of someone being a dependent. Again, Donna is the taxpayer and the mother is the possible dependent. And there's qualifications for a person to be a dependent. Usually one is some type of relation, like mother. Typically, dependents have to live with the taxpayer, but here it says the mother lives in her own home. But an exception to that rule of living with the taxpayer are parents of the taxpayer, like this mother. Doesn't have to live with the taxpayer. Maybe the mother is living in a care home, but the taxpayer probably pays for more than half of the costs. There's also a possible income limit the dependent can have during the year. It's 5,000 something under this amount. So I'll say yes, can be claimed as dependent. And this type of dependent, a dependent mother, would qualify for another dependent credit, not the child tax credit. Other dependent credits would give a maximum of $500 each for each other qualified dependent, not a $2,000 child tax credit. Now you should answer all of these boxes here before you use one of your check my work attempts. Okay, so don't waste it. Answer the whole problem. Then click on that check my work. But you know what? Just to speed it up, I'm going to click on this check my work anyway. And you can see I have both of these answers correct. I don't have red X's here when you don't answer it, but I've just used one of my 3 check my work attempts for this one problem. Again, I have not yet submitted my work. Now, you only submit after you finish all the problems in the homework assignment. And you'll use up one of your 3 submission attempts, which is different than one of my check my work per problem. Now, if you cannot do all of the homework problems in one sitting, what you should do is not submit your work, but click on the save and exit. So the next time you start your homework, you'll pick up where you left off. Also, even if you submit your work, you'll pick up where you left off with the correct and incorrect answers, whatever percentage you have here. But then that means you've used up one of your 3 submission attempts. So you have 3 submission attempts to submit the whole homework assignment. 3 check my work checks for each one of these problems. So really there's no excuse for you to get 100% for every homework assignment. When you do quizzes, typically it's going to be 20 questions, true, false, multiple choice. There's no check my work button. You have only one submission. Okay, that's chapter quizzes versus homework assignments. Let me get out of this here. exit out. Okay, that's under assignments area. I just came from this chapter 1 homework area assignment. Again, before you do an assignment, make sure you read the instructions here. Okay, I should have done this first, yeah? Assignment instructions here in Laulima. And here is the detailed instructions for the assignment I just worked on, explaining to you the green check marks and red X's and the check my work button and the submission button. Okay, always read the instructions here first in Lamaku. Yeah, not Laulima, but Lamaku. Okay, what else do we need to cover? Chapter resources, right now it's empty, but for every chapter I'll have a subfolder with some supplemental information. Okay, I think that's it for this introductory video. I'm going to be emailing the class and reposting a welcome message here in our Laulima site. Okay, I'll talk to you later.